Psychology of people who love the single life. Why do some people genuinely love being single? It's not about loneliness, it's about freedom, self-knowledge, and choosing love on their own terms. In this video, we'll uncover the psychology behind the single life and why being alone can actually be a sign of emotional strength. Let's get right into it. Number 1. The psychology of absolute freedom. For some people, being single isn't a phase, it's a philosophy. They see personal freedom as the highest currency of life. To them, relationships often come with a silent contract, emotional check-ins, constant updates, and compromises that chip away at independence. It's not that they dislike connection, they just refuse to give up the rhythm of their own life for it. When you live by your own rules, every decision, from what time you sleep to where you live, feels authentically yours. That autonomy becomes addictive. You don't need to report your moods, adjust your tone, or explain why you want a day alone. It's total freedom, not loneliness. Psychologically, this reflects a strong individualistic identity, a mindset where personal space equals emotional stability. People like this often fear losing themselves in love. They've seen how relationships can quietly reshape who you are, the hobbies you abandon, the compromises that blur your edges. So, they stay single not because they can't love, but because they value self-sovereignty above all else. They thrive in solitude the same way others thrive in companionship. For them, peace is found not in someone's arms, but in the quiet confidence of living on their own terms. Number 2. The defensive mind. Fear of getting hurt. Love, at its best, opens you up. But once you've been hurt, that openness feels dangerous. The brain remembers emotional pain almost the same way it remembers physical wounds, with caution and avoidance. So, for people who've been betrayed or heartbroken, staying single becomes a shield. It's not about bitterness or giving up on love, it's about emotional safety. When you've invested deeply once and lost everything, you learn to build walls, high ones. Being single feels predictable, manageable, and safe from emotional chaos. It's control after the storm. Psychologists call this defensive avoidance, a coping mechanism where the fear of pain outweighs the desire for connection. These people may still crave intimacy, but subconsciously, they associate love with risk. So they tell themselves they're better off alone, not out of arrogance, but out of survival. What looks like independence can sometimes be protection in disguise. Deep down, many of them still believe in love. They just need time, healing, and trust, rebuilt one small step at a time. Number 3. The self-sufficient mind, happy alone. There's a huge difference between being lonely and being alone. People with a self-sufficient mindset understand this perfectly. They don't rely on romantic relationships for happiness because they've built a fulfilling life from within. They find joy in their routines, working out, reading, pursuing creative hobbies, or chasing personal goals. They have solid friendships, stable careers, and emotional awareness. They've mastered what psychologists call self-soothing, the ability to manage emotions without external validation. When you can entertain yourself, comfort yourself, and motivate yourself, love becomes optional, not essential, and that's powerful. It means you're not searching for someone to complete you, but to complement you. This mindset reflects high emotional maturity and a strong sense of self-love. They don't avoid love, they just don't depend on it. They know happiness built on self-growth lasts longer than happiness borrowed from someone else. For them, being single isn't a lack, it's proof of wholeness. Number 4. The rational mind logic over emotion. While most people fall into love, some people step into it carefully or choose not to step in at all. These individuals approach relationships like scientists, observing, analyzing, and questioning. They don't let emotions dictate every move. They often ask themselves practical questions. Does this relationship align with my values? Does it improve my peace of mind? Or does it drain my energy? If the answers lean towards stress or conflict, they simply walk away. This mindset is rooted in cognitive reasoning, the ability to make decisions based on long-term outcomes rather than emotional impulses. To them, love without logic feels unstable. They'd rather be single and centered than emotionally involved but unbalanced. Society might call them too cold or too picky, but in reality, they're just emotionally disciplined. They've learned that love built on impulse often burns out fast, and they'd rather wait for something meaningful than chase temporary connection. To them, being single is not a rejection of love. It's a commitment to inner peace. Number 5. The self-first mind, prioritizing career and growth. Some people aren't avoiding love. They're just busy building themselves. When your mind is wired toward ambition, personal development, and long-term goals, relationships can feel like a detour. You want to focus your time, energy, and emotions on becoming the best version of yourself, not on managing the highs and lows of romance. People with this mindset see life as a ladder. Before reaching for love, they want to build a strong foundation, financial stability, emotional intelligence, and a sense of direction. They believe love should add to your life, not consume it. Psychologically, this is tied to self-determination theory, which says that humans thrive when they feel autonomous, competent, and purposeful. Relationships, while beautiful, can sometimes interfere with those needs if entered too early or for the wrong reasons. So, they prioritize personal growth first, not because they're selfish, but because they understand timing. To them, love is meaningful only when shared between two complete individuals, not two half-built souls trying to fix each other. They're not anti-love, they're simply in progress. Number 6. The rebel mind rejecting social pressure. If you've ever been asked, when are you getting married? You've felt the weight of society's expectations. But some people refuse to carry it. They reject the idea that success or happiness must include a romantic partner. These individuals see being single as an act of quiet rebellion, a statement that says, I don't owe anyone a timeline. For them, happiness isn't something that needs to be validated by social norms. It's deeply personal. Psychologically, this reflects autonomous motivation, where your actions are guided by your values, not external pressure. They've learned to filter out the noise, relatives' opinions, cultural expectations, even friends' milestones, and define happiness for themselves. Being single becomes a symbol of inner freedom. It's not a failure to find love. It's a decision to prioritize authenticity. They'd rather disappoint tradition than betray themselves. In a world that constantly tells you to pair up, choosing to stand alone, confidently, is one of the most powerful forms of independence there is. Number 7. The fear of attachment, losing control. For some, the idea of love doesn't feel romantic. It feels suffocating. These people don't fear intimacy itself. They fear the loss of control that often comes with it. Once someone enters your emotional world, your peace is no longer entirely your own. This fear is often linked to avoidant attachment style, a psychological pattern developed from past experiences, perhaps growing up in emotionally distant environments or being overwhelmed by others' needs. They've learned that closeness can lead to discomfort or chaos, so they maintain distance as a way to feel safe. To them, single life feels simpler. No compromises, no shared decisions, no risk of losing identity in someone else's expectations. They equate independence with security. It's not that they can't love, they just love from a distance, carefully. Deep down, what they truly want is connection without control, affection without invasion. But until they find that balance, staying single feels like the only way to breathe freely. Number 8. The skeptical mind, doubting love and marriage. Some people love the idea of love, but not its reality. They have watched too many relationships crumble, seen too many couples grow apart, or lived through families torn by conflict. Over time, this exposure builds a quiet skepticism. Does love even last anymore? This mindset stems from what psychologists call cynical realism, a protective belief that guards against disappointment. They don't necessarily reject love, but they doubt its permanence. Marriage to them looks less like a dream and more like a gamble. This skepticism often originates in childhood experiences. Watching parents argue, cheat, or separate leaves lasting emotional imprints. The brain learns early that love equals instability, so as adults, these individuals avoid the emotional risk altogether. Being single becomes a logical choice. It's not fueled by arrogance, but by observation. They'd rather rely on what's consistent, themselves, than place faith in something they believe is destined to fade. It's a quiet kind of sadness, masked as rationality. Number 9. The idealist mind, waiting for the right one, not just anyone. Not everyone who enjoys being single has given up on love. Some are simply holding out for something extraordinary, a connection that feels aligned, authentic, and worth the wait. These people are idealists, not dreamers. They understand that a wrong relationship can cost more peace than loneliness ever will. They don't chase sparks, they seek substance. They're patient, introspective, and emotionally selective. For them, being single isn't an empty gap, it's a conscious pause until something real arrives. Psychologically, this comes from secure self-esteem, the belief that your worth isn't dependent on being chosen. They're comfortable enough in their solitude that they don't rush into love just to fill silence. Their standards are high, but not unrealistic. They're grounded in self-respect. They believe love should enhance life, not complicate it, and that the right person will never demand you to shrink, compromise your peace, or abandon your dreams. So, they wait, calmly, confidently, knowing that being alone while growing is far better than being attached while fading. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.